You had a terrible choice to make in Berlin. One life over millions. And now the world is at risk.
This is the CIA's mission. If he had held on to the plutonium, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
His team would be dead.
Yes, they would. That's the job.
Down with the victim. We both know you need them. Stuck in the middle of all irrelevance.
You don't understand what you're involved in.
You need to walk away.
Please don't make me go through you.
How many times has Hunt's government betrayed him, disavowed him, cast him aside? How long before a man like that has had enough?
You can't fight the friction. So you can't take the pressure. So
Ethan, that's not who we are.
Maybe we need to reconsider that.
you can't fight the friction.
So, how is he?
Hell, you know. Same old Ethan.
What the hell is he doing?
I find it best not to look.
Who's gonna rock the place? 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 No one can touch this.
And now, our feature presentation.
Mission Impossible Fallout is a great film. Hello you guys, I'm the Hero Tiny 5 here, and I just saw Mission Impossible Fallout yesterday, and it was just amazing. It was a great action film. It had great cinematography from an action film that I ever seen. I've never seen a cinematography that great in action like this one. Characters were very good. Tom Cruise does 99% of his stunts. It was just amazing. You have Simon Pegg, Rebecca Ferguson, and many other actors from the previous films are in here. Alec Baldwin's in here. Henry Cavill is a great character in this film. He phones it in a little bit, but you can actually see that he is trying to play a different role than his Superman performance. And it was just a fantastic action film that shows us that action films need to be similar to this, where there's no blue screen, no green screen action sequences. There is just stunts everywhere. 99% of Tom Cruise does in this movie is all him. It's not blue screen or green screen. It is just all him, and it was just great. It was a joyride. There were some slow parts in the movie, but they were slow for a reason, just to get us into the action point of it. Tom Cruise is riding on a motorcycle yet again, and it's just so good. It puts the story of Ethan Hunt. It puts Ethan Hunt's story to a. It puts the story that Ethan Hunt was trying to tell in the previous films, to a close. But it brought us, another film that I believe that they didn't need to make. They were fine with 5 movies, but 6 movies would have been too much for me. But at least this one was a joyride, and I enjoyed every bit of it. There were some issues with the villains. There were some issues with the story. The story was kind of confusing at first because you have to see Rogue Nation in order to know who the villain is and what his intentions are in the film. But besides all of that, the film is fantastic throughout. Every action sequences was good for the most part. The story was actually kind of a mixed bag for me because I was kind of remembering who these characters were and what they were meant to do in the film. But besides all of that, I think the film did pretty well in terms of the action style and great summer blockbuster film. I hope this film has a lot of money, because this is actually makes a lot of money, because this is probably one of my favorite action films I've seen in a long time. Because even though Avengers: Infinity War came out 2 months ago, 3 months ago, this movie surpasses Avengers: Infinity War in terms of the action sequences, because Avengers: Infinity War is more for like, you know, comic book characters and all that kind of jazz. But it was just spot on, just great. Mission Impossible Fallout brings, it's just a great action film with a great set piece in the middle. The third act was just amazing. Seeing that plane sequence in the film was just so good and so well done that you get the chills by just watching it. Tom Cruise is a fantastic actor in his action films. He's kind of shady in real life, but he's great in Mission Impossible and many of his films he does, because he kind of knows what to do with these films, and just amazing work he's done with this Mission Impossible movie. This is the 6th entry in the series, and all in all, I enjoyed every bit of this movie from beginning to end. The story parts were confusing because they were just, you know, confusing to my brain, but they were just great. The villain was a little bit, the villain was kind of a cop. This was kind of a cop-out villain. Basically, this is like Iron Man 3, where there was like 2 villains, one that was a phony and the other one wasn't, and it was just beautifully executed and great film. But the villain was just, I don't really care for the villain that much. I mean, he was there. Henry Cavill plays a good, smart-ass villain that just is not as witty as the Superman performance, but it gets the job done really well. And I liked the film. The film was great action sequences throughout the film, and it gives you a lot to look forward to. And I think a lot of action films need to be like Mission Impossible Fallout. They need to have good action sequences. They need to have good story and good characters. They don't need to, and also do the stunts by themselves, because this movie, stunts were done in the film. Tom Cruise did all his stunts. He worked on them. He did a bunch of stunts. He wasn't phoning it in the green screen. This was not a stunt double. This was literally him just doing all his masterful stunts that he does in his films. In this film, and I praise Mission Impossible Fallout for doing that, for giving us a great action film. Great director who did the previous film Rogue Nation back in 2015, and it was amazing. I mean, this film through and through is a great film, and you definitely need to see it. This is an action film for us older people who grew up with these action films in the past. I mean, if you're an adult in age 20 to 30 and you watch action films from the past, you understand this movie is currently a great action film. The past Mission Impossible movies were great. Rogue Nation was good. Protocol was great. 3 was kind of a slow movie for me. 2nd was an okay film, and the first one was just cheesy and wonky, but it was still good. And besides that, I think Mission Impossible 6 Fallout was a great time at the movies. I had a lot of goosebumps when watching this movie, because it was great action sequences throughout the film, and great performance, and just, you know, great story. I mean, it was just good, and it was just there, and I enjoyed every bit of this movie. It was just so good, and just a great time at the movies. You need to see this in IMAX. I was not able to see this in IMAX, but I was able to see it in my local movie theater, and it was spectacular. Go see it in IMAX if you haven't seen it. It is just amazing. Great action film. I would take this over the Teen Titans Go to the Movies that just came out the same weekend as this movie. So if you are interested, go see this movie. It is fantastic. It's great. Great action sequences throughout. Characters are not overly bored to death. You're not going to get like, okay, that cringeworthy character that's just there. But it was very good for the most part. I had a lot of fun with this movie. So well done. So good. I highly recommend it. It was slow at first, but it got to pick up where it needed to be picked up, and it was just amazing. Great action sex pieces throughout the film, and great conclusion to a story that Ethan Hunt and great conclusion to a story that needed to be answered throughout the films, because it was just an amazing film with some amazing characters and cast, and just great film. The villains were not that great, but they could have been worked on a little bit more, and this movie was very predictable at times, but the predictability of this film does not hold accountable to what the action had to offer, and it was just great great film, great action sequences all around through, and it was just a great film to enjoy. And this is what we need for a summer blockbuster like this movie. All action films need to be like Mission Impossible. They need to have practical stunts, no blue screen stunts, just fantastic action sequences throughout, you know, just great film. Definitely go see this in IMAX, Dolby, or whatever you can see it at. It is just amazing. It's a great movie, great action film. It's not a great movie by any means, but it's a great action film. One of my favorites. I enjoyed it. Go see it. It's amazing. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.